she?
Noah? She's with us. Hey, Allie, you want to run?
What a line. You use that on all the girls?
No.
Right.
You're a bird. I work at the lumber yard.
Hello friends, if you are looking for a complete and in-depth review of this movie, The Notebook 2004, you've come to the right place. In today's video, we'll break down the full story, explore the talented cast, analyze the box office performance, and highlight the most powerful moments that make this film stand out. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get started. The Notebook 2004, Part 1. The story begins in a quiet nursing home where an elderly man visits an elderly woman every single day. While the other residents spend their time talking or sitting peacefully in the garden, the old man arrives carrying the same worn notebook in his hands. He sits beside the woman and begins reading a beautiful love story aloud, hoping she will remember something hidden deep within her fading memories. The woman listens politely but shows little recognition, as if the story belongs to strangers rather than herself. Even so, the old man never loses hope. Every day he returns, turns another page of the notebook, and continues reading with the same patience and love, believing that one day the words might reach her heart again. The story inside the notebook transports us back to the summer of 1940 in the small coastal town of Seabrook, South Carolina. It is a place filled with colorful fairs, peaceful rivers, and long country roads where life moves at a slower pace. During one lively summer carnival, a cheerful and hardworking young man named Noah Calhoun notices a beautiful young woman named Allie Hamilton enjoying the rides with her friends. The moment Noah sees her, he is completely captivated. Allie comes from a wealthy family, dressed elegantly and surrounded by people from high society, while Noah is a humble country boy working hard to help his father restore an old plantation house. Despite the obvious differences between their worlds, Noah cannot take his eyes off her. Determined to meet her, Noah follows Allie through the carnival until she boards the giant Ferris wheel with another boy. Refusing to give up, Noah climbs onto the moving Ferris wheel, hanging dangerously from the metal bars high above the ground just to get her attention. Everyone below watches in shock as Noah jokingly refuses to climb down unless Allie agrees to go on a date with him. Embarrassed and worried that he might actually fall, Allie finally agrees. Noah immediately jumps down with a huge smile on his face while Allie walks away pretending to be annoyed. Although their first meeting is playful and unconventional, it leaves both of them thinking about each other long after the carnival ends. A few days later, Noah arrives to pick Allie up for their first date. At first, she insists that she only agreed because she wanted him to climb down safely, not because she was interested in him. Noah laughs and refuses to let her cold attitude discourage him. Throughout the evening, his natural charm, confidence, and sense of humor slowly begin breaking through the emotional walls Allie has carefully built around herself. Unlike the wealthy young men her parents usually introduce her to, Noah speaks honestly, laughs freely, and enjoys every simple moment without worrying about social status or appearances. His genuine personality surprises Allie in ways she never expected. As they continue spending time together, the differences between their lives become increasingly clear. Allie is intelligent, artistic, and raised in a world of elegance, expensive dresses, and strict expectations. Her parents dream of seeing her marry someone wealthy and respected, believing that financial security is the key to happiness. Noah, however, believes that love, honesty, and hard work matter far more than money. Although he owns very little, he possesses an adventurous spirit and an unwavering belief that people should follow their hearts instead of society's expectations. These opposite backgrounds create an invisible barrier between them, yet they also make every conversation more meaningful because each introduces the other to a completely different way of seeing the world. One warm afternoon, Noah takes Ellie to a quiet lake surrounded by towering trees and peaceful water. As they row gently across the lake, hundreds of graceful white birds suddenly fill the sky, creating one of the most breathtaking moments either of them has ever experienced. The beauty of the scene leaves them speechless. For a brief moment, the worries of family expectations, social class, and the future simply disappear. Noah and Allie look at one another with growing affection, realizing that the connection between them is becoming much deeper than either of them had planned. Throughout the summer, their relationship blossoms into a passionate young romance. They dance together in empty streets, laugh while running through the rain, explore the countryside, and share dreams about the future. Noah encourages Allie to continue painting because he believes in her talent, while Allie inspires Noah to dream beyond the limits of his modest upbringing. Their love feels effortless, genuine, and full of endless possibilities. Every day they spend together strengthens the bond between them, making it harder to imagine life apart. Friends begin noticing how happy they are, while even strangers can see the undeniable chemistry between them. However, not everyone is pleased by the growing relationship. Ali's parents quickly become concerned after learning more about Noah's background. To them, he is simply a poor country boy with no wealth, no prestigious education, and no secure future. They believe their daughter deserves someone from their own social class and quietly begin planning ways to separate the young couple before their romance becomes too serious. Although Ali tries to ignore her parents' opinions, she cannot completely escape the influence they have held over her throughout her life. The pressure between following her heart and obeying her family begins growing stronger with every passing day. As another beautiful summer evening comes to an end, Noah and Ali sit together beneath the stars, talking about the future they dream of building together. Neither of them realizes that the happiness they have found is about to face its greatest challenge. Their love may feel powerful enough to overcome every obstacle, but the world around them is preparing to test that belief in ways they could never imagine. What began as a playful meeting on a Ferris wheel is slowly becoming one of the most unforgettable love stories of their generation. As the summer continues, Noah and Allie become inseparable. Nearly every day is spent together, exploring the countryside, walking along quiet roads, swimming in the river, or simply talking for hours about their dreams. Noah makes every ordinary moment feel extraordinary with his playful personality and endless optimism. Whether they are dancing in the middle of an empty street or lying beneath the stars watching the night sky, every memory they create strengthens the bond between them. For Allie, who has always lived according to carefully planned expectations, Noah introduces a completely different kind of happiness, one built on freedom, honesty, and living in the moment rather than worrying about the future. One afternoon, Noah takes Ellie to an old abandoned plantation house hidden deep in the countryside. The once beautiful mansion has fallen into ruins, with broken windows, cracked walls, and vines covering much of the exterior. Most people see only an abandoned building, but Noah sees something entirely different. Standing inside the empty house, he tells Ellie that one day he plans to buy it and restore it completely. He describes every detail with absolute confidence, imagining a wide front porch, white painted walls, blue shutters, and a beautiful art studio where Ellie can spend her days painting. Listening to Noah speak with such certainty makes Ellie smile because she realizes he is not simply dreaming. He truly believes he can build that future. Their relationship grows deeper with every passing week, and soon they are no longer afraid to express how much they mean to one another. Noah openly tells Allie that he loves her with all his heart, and although she initially struggles to put her feelings into words, it becomes clear that she feels exactly the same. They begin imagining a future together despite knowing how different their lives are. Noah dreams of working hard enough to give them a happy home, while Allie imagines a life where she can continue painting without allowing society to dictate every decision she makes. For the first time, the future feels exciting rather than uncertain. Unfortunately, the happiness they share does not go unnoticed. Allie's parents become increasingly disturbed by the seriousness of the relationship. Her mother, Anne Hamilton, believes Noah is completely unsuitable because of his financial situation and social background. She worries that her daughter will throw away every opportunity they have worked so hard to provide. Meanwhile, Allie's father remains equally convinced that the romance is nothing more than a temporary summer adventure that will eventually fade. Together, they begin pressuring Allie to spend less time with Noah, insisting that she should focus on preparing for college and meeting people from families similar to their own. Despite her parents' objections, Allie refuses to end the relationship. She argues that Noah makes her genuinely happy and that love should matter more than money or social status. The disagreement quickly grows into frequent arguments inside the Hamilton household. Her parents remind her of the comfortable life she has always known and warn that marrying someone like Noah would force her into years of financial struggle. Ellie listens respectfully, but deep inside she feels torn. She loves her family, yet she cannot deny the happiness she has found with Noah. For the first time in her life, she begins questioning whether following her parents' wishes will truly lead to happiness. The growing pressure eventually begins affecting Noah as well. Although he never asks Allie to choose between him and her family, he notices the emotional strain she carries every time they meet. He understands that she is fighting against expectations she has lived with her entire life. Even so, Noah refuses to let fear define their future. He reminds Allie that life is too short to sacrifice genuine love for the approval of others. His confidence reassures her, but neither of them realizes how quickly circumstances are about to change beyond their control. One evening, after spending another wonderful day together, Noah and Allie argue for the first time. The conversation begins with frustration over the pressure from her parents, but soon grows more emotional. Both are scared of losing each other, yet neither knows how to express those fears properly. Harsh words are spoken in anger, and for a brief moment it seems as though the love they share is beginning to crack under the weight of reality. Although the argument ends without either of them truly meaning what they said, it leaves both feeling hurt and uncertain. The following morning, events take an unexpected turn. Ali's parents suddenly announce that the family will be leaving Seabrook immediately and returning to Charleston. They make it clear that the decision is final, leaving Ali with almost no time to say goodbye. Desperate and heartbroken, she rushes to find Noah before they leave town, but circumstances keep them apart. Noah also searches desperately for Ali, unaware that she is already being driven away. As the distance between them grows with every passing mile, both believe they have lost the person they love most. Watching the car disappear down the road, Ali breaks into tears while Noah stands alone, overwhelmed by heartbreak and helplessness. Neither of them knows whether they will ever see each other again. Their unforgettable summer romance, filled with laughter, dreams, and promises of forever, comes to a sudden and painful end. Yet despite the distance now separating them, neither Noah nor Ali realizes that some love stories are far stronger than time, circumstance, or even years of silence. Their journey is far from over, and fate has only just begun writing the next chapter of their lives. After Ali leaves Seabrook with her parents, both she and Noah struggle to accept the sudden separation. Only a few days earlier, they had been dreaming about a future together, believing nothing could come between them. Now they are hundreds of miles apart, with no opportunity to say a proper goodbye. Noah spends countless hours walking along the quiet roads where they once laughed together, unable to believe that the happiest summer of his life has ended so suddenly. Every familiar place reminds him of Allie: the old plantation house, the lake where they watched the birds, and the carnival where their extraordinary love story first began. Although she is gone, her presence seems to linger in every memory. Back in Charleston, Allie finds it equally difficult to move forward. Her parents immediately try to return her life to normal, encouraging her to focus on school, social events, and preparing for a respectable future. They hope that time and distance will help her forget Noah completely. Outwardly, Ali obeys their wishes, attending dinners and spending time with friends from wealthy families. Yet, behind every polite smile is a heart that refuses to let go. Late at night, she quietly looks through the few memories she has of Noah, wondering whether he is thinking about her just as often as she thinks about him. Determined not to lose the woman he loves, Noah begins writing letters to Ali every single day. Each letter is filled with honesty, describing how deeply he misses her and how strongly he believes they belong together. He tells her about his days in Seabrook, the old house he still dreams of restoring, and his hope that one day they will be reunited. Week after week, month after month, Noah faithfully writes another letter, never missing a single day. He believes that if Ali reads his words, she will know that his love has never changed. Unknown to Noah, however, every one of those letters is intercepted by Ali's mother before they ever reach her daughter. Anne Hamilton secretly hides Noah's letters, convinced that protecting her daughter means permanently ending the relationship. She believes that if Ellie never hears from Noah again, she will eventually move on and build a life among people of her own social class. As the months pass without receiving a single reply, Noah slowly begins believing that Ellie has chosen to forget him. Every unanswered letter becomes another heartbreak, yet he refuses to stop writing until an entire year has passed. By the time he sends the final letter, Noah has written 365 messages, each carrying the same unwavering promise. that no matter how much time passes, he will always love her. Meanwhile, Ellie also struggles with the painful silence. She cannot understand why Noah suddenly disappeared from her life without even writing once. At first, she waits eagerly for a letter that never arrives. Then she begins questioning whether his love was ever as strong as he claimed. Eventually, hurt and disappointment replace hope. She convinces herself that Noah has moved on, even though a part of her heart refuses to believe it completely. The silence between them, created by circumstances beyond their control, slowly builds an invisible wall that neither realizes was never their own choice. As time continues moving forward, the world around them changes dramatically. The Second World War begins, pulling countless young men into military service. Like many others of his generation, Noah enlists in the army, leaving behind the small town where every corner reminds him of Allie. The war exposes him to hardship, danger, and loss unlike anything he has ever known. Surrounded by uncertainty, Noah continues carrying the memory of his first love as a source of strength. Even on the darkest days, thoughts of Ali remain one of the few things giving him hope that life can still hold happiness after the war ends. Ali's life also changes during the war years. She volunteers at a military hospital, helping care for wounded soldiers returning from the battlefield. Day after day, she witnesses the devastating consequences of war, seeing young men struggle with physical injuries and emotional trauma. The experience matures her greatly, teaching her compassion and resilience. Although her responsibilities keep her busy, there are quiet moments when memories of Noah unexpectedly return. Sometimes she catches herself wondering where he is, whether he survived the war, or whether fate will ever allow them to meet again. While working at the hospital, Ellie meets Lon Hammond Jr., a handsome, successful, and kind hearted young lawyer who comes from a wealthy and respected family. Unlike Noah, Lon fits perfectly into the world Allie's parents have always wanted for her. He is charming, intelligent, ambitious, and treats Allie with genuine respect. Over time, the two begin spending more time together, and Lon slowly falls in love with her. Although Allie enjoys his company and appreciates his kindness, there remains a quiet part of her heart that still belongs to someone she believes abandoned her years ago. As the war comes to an end, Noah finally returns home, carrying both the emotional scars of battle and the memories of a love he has never forgotten. He believes that chapter of his life is over forever, yet, deep inside, the hope that once inspired him has never completely disappeared. Unaware that Ali never received a single one of his letters, Noah prepares to begin rebuilding his life. Neither of them realizes that fate has one more chance waiting for them, a chance that will test whether true love can survive years of silence, misunderstanding, and impossible distance. When Noah returns home after serving in the war, he finds that Seabrook has changed very little. Yet everything feels different without Ali. The familiar roads, the quiet lake, and the peaceful countryside still look the same. But the person who once gave those places meaning is no longer there. Although the memories of war remain with him, the memory that stays closest to his heart is still the young woman he loved during that unforgettable summer. Noah tries to move forward, but every part of the town reminds him of the promises they once made beneath the stars. He realizes that while years have passed, his feelings for Ali have never truly disappeared. One day, Noah unexpectedly receives news that changes the direction of his life. The old plantation house, the same abandoned mansion he once showed Ali during their happiest days together, is finally available for purchase. Most people see the property as nothing more than a collapsing building beyond repair. But Noah immediately remembers the promise he made years earlier. Standing inside those empty rooms once again, He recalls telling Allie that he would someday restore the house completely, adding white paint, blue shutters, and a beautiful porch where they could spend their future together. Even though she is no longer part of his life, Noah decides to honor that promise anyway. Using the money left to him by his late father and working tirelessly with his own hands, Noah begins restoring the old mansion exactly as he once described it to Ali. Day after day, he repairs broken walls, replaces damaged floors, paints every room, and slowly transforms the abandoned house into something extraordinary. The work is physically exhausting, but it gives Noah a sense of purpose he has been missing since the war. Every nail he drives and every board he replaces feels like another step toward keeping a promise that only he still remembers. Although he knows Ali may never see the finished house, completing it becomes his way of preserving the love they once shared. Months later, the restoration is finally complete. The once ruined plantation house has become one of the most beautiful homes in the area, surrounded by peaceful gardens and overlooking the quiet river. Just as Noah had promised years before, the house features bright white walls, elegant blue shutters, and a wide front porch that captures the warmth of the southern countryside. Neighbors admire the incredible transformation, and photographs of the restored mansion soon appear in local newspapers. Noah never rebuilds the house to impress anyone else. It is simply the physical reminder of a dream that refused to fade even after years of heartbreak and separation. Meanwhile, Ellie's life has moved in a very different direction. Her relationship with Lon Hammond Jr. has grown stronger over the years, and together they have built a stable and respectable future. Lon is everything her parents once hoped she would marry. He is successful, intelligent, compassionate, and deeply devoted to her. One evening, during a romantic dinner surrounded by family and friends, Lon asks Allie to marry him. Touched by his sincerity and believing that Noah has long since forgotten her, Allie accepts his proposal. Their engagement brings great joy to both families, especially her parents, who believe their daughter has finally found the perfect life they always imagined for her. Although Allie genuinely cares for Lon, there are still quiet moments when memories of Noah unexpectedly return. Sometimes she catches herself thinking about the carefree summer they shared, wondering what became of the young man who once promised to restore an old house just for her. She quickly pushes those thoughts aside, reminding herself that the past belongs in the past. She convinces herself that Noah must have moved on years ago, just as she has tried to do. Yet, despite everything she has accomplished, a small part of her heart still remains connected to memories she has never fully released. Everything changes one ordinary morning while Ellie is preparing for her upcoming wedding. As she flips through the newspaper during breakfast, a photograph suddenly catches her attention. The headline features the beautifully restored plantation house, praising the local man who transformed the abandoned property into one of the finest homes in Seabrook. The man standing proudly in front of the house is Noah Calhoun. The moment Ellie sees his face again after so many years, the world around her seems to stop. Memories she believed had faded forever come rushing back with overwhelming force, leaving her speechless. She stares at the photograph for several long moments, barely hearing the conversations happening around her. Every detail of the house reminds her of the dream Noah once described during that unforgettable summer. The white walls, the blue shutters, the wide porch, it is exactly as he promised. Suddenly, she realizes that Noah never forgot the future they imagined together. While she believed he had abandoned her, He had spent years keeping a promise she thought existed only in youthful imagination. The discovery leaves her emotionally shaken, raising questions she believed had already been answered long ago. Unable to stop thinking about the newspaper article, Allie becomes increasingly distracted in the days leading up to her wedding. Lon notices her unusual silence and gently asks if something is wrong, but she insists that she is simply overwhelmed by wedding preparations. Although Lon believes her, Allie knows the truth is far more complicated. The photograph has awakened emotions she carefully buried years ago, forcing her to confront a past she believed was finished forever. For the first time since accepting Lon's proposal, she begins wondering whether the life she is preparing to enter is truly the life she wants. As the wedding date grows closer, Allie finds herself standing at an emotional crossroads. She loves the stability and kindness Lon offers, yet the image of Noah standing before the restored house refuses to leave her mind. The future she thought had already been decided suddenly feels uncertain once again. Deep inside, she realizes that before she can promise her life to another man, she must first confront the love she left behind all those years ago. That single newspaper photograph has reopened a chapter of her heart that she never truly closed, setting the stage for a reunion that will change both of their lives forever. The newspaper photograph continues to occupy Ellie's thoughts long after she first sees it. Every time she closes her eyes, memories of that unforgettable summer return with incredible clarity. She remembers Noah's laughter, the peaceful afternoons they spent rowing across the lake, the old plantation house he promised to rebuild, and the countless dreams they shared beneath the stars. She tries convincing herself that those memories belong to another chapter of her life, yet the emotions they awaken feel just as powerful as they did years before. As the days pass, she realizes she cannot move forward with her wedding until she finally understands whether the feelings she buried have truly disappeared. Unable to ignore the questions filling her heart, Allie makes a difficult decision. She tells Lon that she wants to take a short trip before the wedding to visit some old friends and clear her mind. Although Lon notices that something is troubling her, he trusts her completely and encourages her to take the time she needs. His kindness only makes Allie feel more conflicted because she knows he has done nothing wrong. He has loved her honestly, treated her with respect, and offered her a secure future. Yet, despite all of that, she feels an irresistible pull toward the man she once believed she had lost forever. After a long drive through the familiar countryside, Allie finally arrives in Seabrook. As she enters the quiet town, memories begin flooding back from every direction. The roads look almost unchanged. The peaceful atmosphere feels comforting, and every corner reminds her of the happiest summer of her youth. Eventually, she reaches the beautiful white plantation house she recognized from the newspaper. Standing before it, she can hardly believe her eyes. Noah kept every promise he made so many years ago. The white walls shine brightly beneath the afternoon sun. The blue shutters frame every window exactly as he described, and the wide front porch overlooks the peaceful landscape they once imagined sharing together. Noah is outside working when he notices a familiar car slowly approaching the house. At first, he assumes he is imagining things, but as the driver steps out, time seems to stand still. Standing before him is Allie Hamilton, the woman he has loved every single day, despite the years that have passed between them. For several silent moments, neither of them knows what to say. They simply look at one another, overwhelmed by emotions that words cannot fully express. The years have changed them physically, but the connection they once shared is still immediately recognizable in their eyes. Breaking the silence with a warm smile, Noah welcomes Ellie as though no time has passed at all. Although both of them feel nervous, their conversation gradually becomes more comfortable. Noah gives her a tour of the beautifully restored house, proudly showing her every room. As they walk through the mansion, Ellie realizes that nearly everything Noah once described during that afternoon in the abandoned house has become reality. The art studio, the spacious porch, and every carefully restored detail reflect the dream they once built together as teenagers. She is deeply moved, understanding that Noah never forgot the promises they made even after years of complete silence. Eventually, Ellie gathers the courage to ask the question that has haunted her for years. She wants to know why Noah never wrote to her after she left Seabrook. Noah looks at her with complete confusion before quietly explaining that he wrote every single day for an entire year. He tells her about the hundreds of letters he mailed, each one filled with love and hope, believing she would eventually answer. Allie is stunned. Tears begin filling her eyes as she realizes she never received a single letter. In that heartbreaking moment, both of them understand that they were separated not because they stopped loving each other, but because circumstances beyond their control kept the truth hidden for years. As the afternoon turns into evening, Noah and Ali continue talking about everything they lost. They share stories about the war, their families, and the lives they built while believing the other had moved on. There is sadness in their conversation, but there is also comfort. For the first time since their painful separation, they finally understand what truly happened all those years ago. The misunderstandings that once seemed impossible to explain slowly begin disappearing, replaced by honesty and long overdue answers. Later that evening, Noah invites Ellie to take a boat ride on the peaceful lake where they once spent so many happy afternoons together. As they gently row across the calm water, the setting sun reflects beautifully across the surface, creating a breathtaking view. Surrounded by nature once again, it feels as though time has folded back on itself. The years of separation seem to fade away, leaving only two people who never truly stopped loving one another. Their conversation becomes lighter, their laughter returns naturally, and for a brief moment they feel exactly as they did during that unforgettable summer. As darkness slowly falls over the lake, Allie realizes that the feelings she believed were buried forever have never actually disappeared. Being with Noah again has awakened a love that survived years of silence, misunderstanding, and distance. Yet she also knows that another man is waiting for her, expecting to marry her in just a few days. Standing between the comfort of her planned future and the passion of her first love, Allie finds herself facing the most difficult decision of her life. She came to Seabrook hoping to find closure, but instead she has rediscovered the part of her heart she thought had been lost forever. After spending the evening together, Noah and Ali continue reconnecting over the next few days, trying to make sense of the years that separated them. At first, their conversations revolve around ordinary memories, the places they once visited, and the lives they built after saying goodbye. But beneath every smile lies a deeper emotion that neither of them can ignore. Although they have both changed with time, the connection they shared as young lovers remains remarkably strong. It feels as though the years of silence have disappeared, allowing them to pick up their story exactly where it was interrupted. One beautiful morning, Noah invites Ali to help him around the restored plantation house. As they work together, painting small details and arranging furniture, they naturally fall back into the easy rhythm they once shared. They laugh over old memories, tease each other the way they did years before, and enjoy the simple comfort of each other's company. For Allie, the house is no longer just a beautiful building. It has become living proof of Noah's unwavering love. Every carefully restored room reminds her that while she believed he had forgotten her, he had quietly spent years fulfilling a promise made during one unforgettable summer. Later that afternoon, Noah takes Allie back to the peaceful lake where so many of their happiest memories were created. They climb into the same small wooden boat and slowly row across the calm water, surrounded by complete silence. As they drift farther from the shore, hundreds of graceful white birds gather around the lake, creating one of the film's most unforgettable and breathtaking moments. Neither Noah nor Allie speaks for several minutes because words are no longer necessary. Looking into each other's eyes, they realize that the love they once believed had been lost forever has survived the passage of time, distance, and heartbreak. The emotional reunion leaves Allie deeply conflicted. Every hour she spends with Noah strengthens the feelings she has tried so hard to bury. Yet she cannot forget that Lon is waiting for her back in Charleston, preparing for the wedding they have planned together. Lon has always treated her with kindness, honesty, and respect. He has offered her a future filled with stability and security, while Noah represents the unpredictable passion of her first love. Allie begins questioning not only which man she loves more, but also which version of herself feels more genuine. With Lon, she has the life everyone expects her to choose. With Noah, she feels like the person she has always wanted to become. That evening, Noah senses the conflict growing inside Allie and decides to stop pretending that everything is simple. Sitting together on the porch of the restored house, he gently tells her that he still loves her just as deeply as he did years ago. He admits that despite everything life has thrown at him, the war, years of loneliness, and believing she had forgotten him, his feelings never changed. Noah explains that he never rebuilt the house hoping she would return. He rebuilt it because it represented the future they once dreamed about together, and keeping that promise gave his life meaning even after losing her. Hearing those words overwhelms Allie with emotion. Tears fill her eyes as she finally understands the depth of Noah's devotion. She realizes that while she spent years believing he had abandoned her, he had actually been fighting to keep their love alive in every way he could. She confesses that she never received any of his letters and admits that if she had known the truth, her life might have taken a completely different path. Both of them are overcome with sadness for the years they lost because of a misunderstanding neither of them created. Meanwhile, back in Charleston, Lon begins growing concerned after hearing very little from Allie. Although he trusts her completely, he senses that something is wrong. He repeatedly tries calling the place where she is staying, but their conversations remain brief and emotionally distant. Lon notices a change in her voice, one that suggests she is struggling with something much deeper than simple wedding nerves. Despite his growing concerns, he refuses to pressure her because his love for Allie has always been based on patience rather than control. He simply asks her to return whenever she is ready, believing that honesty will ultimately guide whatever decision she makes. As another peaceful evening settles over Seabrook, Noah and Allie share one of the most emotional conversations of their lives. They speak openly about their fears, the years they spent apart, and the dreams they once believed were impossible. Noah makes it clear that he will never force her to choose him. Instead, he tells her that whatever decision she makes must come from her own heart rather than from guilt, obligation, or the expectations of other people. His words remind Allie of the fearless young man she fell in love with all those years ago. The man who always believed that real happiness comes from following one's heart, regardless of how difficult the path may be. That night, Ali lies awake in the guest room of the plantation house, unable to sleep. She stares out the window toward the quiet countryside, thinking about everything that has happened over the past few days. In Charleston, a devoted fiance is waiting for her with a carefully planned future. In Seabrook, the love she never truly forgot has returned, offering her a life built on passion, shared dreams, and unfinished promises. For the first time, Ali understands that the decision before her is not simply choosing between two men, it is choosing between two completely different futures. And whatever choice she makes will shape the rest of her life forever. The following morning, Ali wakes before sunrise, still unable to quiet the thoughts racing through her mind. She walks outside onto the front porch of the plantation house and watches the golden light slowly spread across the fields. The peaceful countryside feels worlds away from the busy, carefully organized life waiting for her in Charleston. For the first time in years, she allows herself to imagine what her future might have looked like if she had never been separated from Noah. Every breeze, every bird singing in the distance, and every corner of the house reminds her that some dreams never truly disappear, no matter how much time passes. Noah joins her on the porch with 2 cups of coffee, sensing that she barely slept. They sit together in comfortable silence before beginning another heartfelt conversation. Noah tells Ali that he has spent years learning to live with the pain of losing her, but seeing her again has reminded him that his feelings never faded. He admits he does not want to pressure her into making any decision because love should never be forced. Instead, he asks her only one thing: to be completely honest with herself. He explains that no matter what happens, he would rather see her genuinely happy than spend the rest of his life wondering what might have been. As the day continues, Noah and Ali revisit several places that once meant everything to them. They walk through the quiet streets where they used to laugh together, stop by the old carnival grounds where they first met, and return to the riverside where they shared countless unforgettable moments. Every location awakens another cherished memory, making it impossible for Ali to deny how deeply Noah shaped her life. She realizes that the happiest version of herself always seemed to exist when she was beside him. The years may have changed her appearance and circumstances, but they have never erased the emotions hidden deep inside her heart. Meanwhile, Lon's concern grows stronger with each passing day. Unable to ignore the uneasy feeling that something is wrong, he decides to travel to Seabrook himself. Although he still trusts Ali, he believes their relationship deserves an honest conversation before the wedding. Lon has always respected her independence, and rather than becoming angry or suspicious, he simply wants to understand what is keeping her away. His willingness to face the situation calmly reflects the sincerity of his love, making the decision before Ali even more painful because she knows she would be hurting a genuinely good man. When Lon finally arrives in Seabrook, he is not surprised to discover that Ali has been spending time with Noah. The truth is immediately visible in the way they look at each other. Instead of creating a dramatic confrontation, Lon chooses honesty over anger. He quietly asks Ali if she still loves Noah. The question catches her completely off guard because she has spent days avoiding the answer herself. Looking into Lon's eyes, she realizes she can no longer hide behind uncertainty. The feelings she believed had disappeared have returned with overwhelming force, leaving her unable to pretend that her heart is still fully committed to to the future they planned together. Lon listens carefully as Allie explains everything that happened. She tells him about Nova's letters, her mother's interference, and the misunderstanding that kept them apart for so many years. She also admits that seeing Nova again awakened emotions she never expected to feel. Although the conversation is heartbreaking, Lon remains remarkably composed. He tells Allie that he loves her enough to let her make the choice that truly reflects her heart. He refuses to build a marriage on doubt or obligation because he knows that real love cannot survive without complete honesty. His maturity and compassion make the moment even more emotional, proving that love sometimes means having the courage to let someone go. After Lon leaves, Allie is overwhelmed with guilt and gratitude at the same time. She realizes how fortunate she has been to be loved so deeply by two very different men. One offered her stability, security, and unwavering respect. The other offered her passion, freedom, and a love that refused to fade despite years of separation. She understands that neither choice is easy because both men have given her genuine affection. Yet she also knows that continuing to delay the decision will only cause more pain for everyone involved. The time has finally come to choose the life she truly wants. Later that evening, Noah finds Allie standing alone by the lake where they once watched the swans glide across the water. He gently asks if she is all right, but before he can say anything more, Allie steps toward him with tears in her eyes. She tells Noah that she spent years trying to become the person everyone expected her to be, but every important decision eventually brought her back to him. She confesses that despite the years, the misunderstandings, and the different lives they built, she has never stopped loving him. The words leave Noah speechless because they are the ones he has dreamed of hearing for so many years. The two embrace beside the peaceful lake as the sun slowly begins to set, finally accepting that fate has given them a second chance they cannot ignore. Their reunion is not built on youthful excitement alone, but on years of longing, heartbreak, growth, and unwavering devotion. Both understand that choosing each other will not erase the pain of the past, but it gives them the opportunity to build the future they once imagined together. For the first time since that unforgettable summer ended, Noah and Allie no longer have to wonder what might have been. They are finally ready to discover what still can be. After finally confessing their true feelings, Noah and Allie spend the next few days together without hiding the love they have carried in their hearts for so many years. The uncertainty that once separated them has disappeared, replaced by a quiet sense of peace. They walk through the countryside, share meals on the porch of the restored plantation house, and talk honestly about everything that happened during the years they were apart. For the first time, there are no misunderstandings, no unanswered letters, and no barriers created by pride or silence. Although they know difficult decisions still lie ahead, they treasure every moment they have together, grateful that fate has given them another chance. Ellie, however, understands that before she can fully embrace her future with Noah, she must face one final conversation with Lon. Returning to Charleston is one of the hardest journeys she has ever made because she knows she is about to break the heart of a man who has loved her with honesty and respect. Throughout the drive, she replays countless memories in her mind, reminding herself that choosing Noah does not mean Lon was unworthy of love. Instead, it means accepting the truth she has been trying to deny for years. Real love cannot exist where the heart remains divided. When Ellie finally meets Lon, the atmosphere is calm but deeply emotional. Lon immediately notices the certainty in her eyes before she even begins speaking. With tears forming, Allie apologizes for the pain she is about to cause and admits that her feelings for Noah never truly disappeared. She explains everything she has learned about the letters, the misunderstanding that kept them apart, and the realization that she cannot enter a marriage while her heart belongs to someone else. Every word is spoken with honesty, knowing that anything less would only create greater pain in the future. Lon listens quietly without interrupting. Although the truth devastates him, he refuses to respond with anger or bitterness. He tells Ali that loving someone also means wanting them to be genuinely happy, even when that happiness does not include you. He admits that he always sensed a part of her heart remained somewhere beyond his reach, though he never understood why until now. Despite his heartbreak, Lorne thanks Ali for telling him the truth before the wedding rather than allowing them both to build a life based on uncertainty. His dignity and compassion leave Ali in tears, making their farewell one of the film's most heartfelt moments. Before leaving Charleston, Ali also has a difficult conversation with her mother. Anne initially struggles to accept her daughter's decision, believing she is throwing away a comfortable and secure future. However, after years of hiding the truth, Anne finally reveals something she has kept secret for a very long time. She confesses that when she was young, she too fell deeply in love with a hardworking young man from a poor family. Although she wanted to spend her life with him, she allowed social expectations and family pressure to separate them forever. Even after marrying Allie's father and living a respectable life, a small part of her always wondered what might have happened if she had followed her heart instead. As Anne shares her own story, she quietly hands Allie a bundle of old letters tied together with ribbon. They are the 365 letters Noah wrote all those years ago, the very letters Anne secretly kept hidden to prevent their relationship from continuing. Allie stares at the stack in complete disbelief, overwhelmed by the realization that Noah never abandoned her. Every unanswered letter she cried over, every lonely night she spent believing he had forgotten her, was built upon a misunderstanding created by someone she trusted most. Although she feels hurt by her mother's actions, she also recognizes the regret in Anne's eyes and understands that her mother acted out of fear rather than cruelty. Holding the letters close to her heart, Allie returns to Seabrook with a completely different understanding of the past. She spends hours reading Noah's words one by one, discovering how faithfully he wrote to her every single day despite never receiving a reply. Each letter reminds her of the unwavering love Noah carried through every season of his life. Some are filled with hope, others with sadness, but all of them express the same promise that he would never stop loving her. By the time she reaches the final letter, tears stream down her face because she finally understands the depth of the sacrifice he made without ever expecting anything in return. That evening, Allie finds Noah standing on the porch overlooking the peaceful countryside. Without saying a word, she walks toward him and places the bundle of letters in his hands. Noah immediately recognizes them and realizes exactly what has happened. Emotion overwhelms both of them as Allie explains that she has finally learned the truth. She tells Noah that she read every letter and that every page confirmed what her heart had always known, that their love survived even when circumstances tried to destroy it. Noah gently embraces her, and for the first time in years, neither of them is carrying unanswered questions or hidden pain. As the sun slowly sets behind the plantation house, Noah and Allie stand together on the porch they once imagined as teenagers. The dreams that seemed impossible have finally become reality. The restored house, the peaceful countryside, and the future stretching before them are no longer symbols of lost love but of hope fulfilled. Although many challenges still lie ahead, they now face them side by side, knowing that the strongest love is not the one that never faces hardship, but the one that survives every obstacle without losing faith. With the truth finally revealed and every misunderstanding left behind, Noah and Allie begin building the life they once dreamed about as teenagers. The restored plantation house, which had stood for years as a symbol of hope and unanswered promises, now becomes a real home filled with laughter and new beginnings. Every morning they wake up together, surrounded by the peaceful beauty of the countryside, and the ordinary routines of daily life become moments they deeply cherish. After spending years believing they had lost one another forever, even the simplest experiences, sharing breakfast on the porch, working in the garden, or watching the sunset over the river, feel like precious gifts they refuse to take for granted. Life together is not always easy, however. Noah and Allie quickly discover that true love is very different from the perfect romance they imagined during their youthful summer. They occasionally argue over finances, household responsibilities, and the many challenges that come with building a future together. Sometimes their strong personalities lead to passionate disagreements, but unlike the misunderstandings that once separated them, these conflicts never last long. Instead of walking away, they always find their way back to each other through honesty, patience, and mutual respect. Their relationship grows stronger because they learn that lasting love is not about avoiding difficulties, it is about facing them together. As the years pass, Noah continues working hard while Ali finally embraces her lifelong passion for painting. Encouraged by Noah's unwavering belief in her talent, she fills the house with colorful artwork inspired by the peaceful landscape surrounding their home. The art studio Noah promised her so many years earlier becomes one of her favorite places, allowing her creativity to flourish without fear or hesitation. Watching Ali pursue her dreams brings Noah tremendous happiness because supporting her happiness has always been one of the greatest purposes of his own life. Every painting hanging inside the house serves as another reminder that dreams delayed are not always dreams denied. Before long, their family begins to grow. Noah and Ali welcome children into their lives, transforming the quiet plantation house into a home filled with laughter, energy, and unforgettable memories. Their children spend their days exploring the fields, playing beside the river, and listening to stories about courage, kindness, and following one's heart. Noah teaches them the value of hard work and honesty, while Ali encourages them to dream fearlessly and express themselves through creativity. Together, they create the loving family both of them had imagined during that first magical summer, proving that the future they once believed impossible has finally become reality. As time moves forward, the children grow older and eventually begin lives of their own. The once busy house gradually becomes peaceful again, leaving Noah and Ali with long afternoons to enjoy each other's company. They spend evenings sitting on the porch watching the changing seasons, reflecting on the extraordinary journey that brought them back together. Every wrinkle on their faces tells a story of years shared, challenges overcome, and a love that never disappeared despite the obstacles life placed before them. Looking back, they realized that the greatest gift they ever received was not simply finding each other again, it was having the courage to choose love despite every reason to walk away. Eventually, however, life presents them with a challenge far more difficult than anything they have faced before. Ellie begins showing small signs of memory loss. At first, the changes seem harmless. She occasionally forgets where she placed everyday objects, struggles to remember familiar names, or repeats the same questions without realizing it. Noah gently reassures her that everyone becomes forgetful from time to time, hoping the moments are simply part of growing older. Yet, deep inside, he senses that something more serious may be happening. As the months pass, Ellie's memory problems become increasingly noticeable. She sometimes becomes confused in places she has visited countless times and occasionally fails to recognize friends she has known for years. Concerned for her health, the family seeks medical advice, and after several examinations, doctors deliver heartbreaking news. Allie has developed Alzheimer's disease, a condition that will slowly steal her memories and eventually make it difficult for her to recognize even the people she loves most. The diagnosis leaves the entire family devastated, but no one is affected more deeply than Noah, who realizes he may one day lose the woman he fought so hard to find again. Despite the painful diagnosis, Noah refuses to abandon hope. Instead of focusing on what the disease might take away, he chooses to treasure every memory they still have together. He spends even more time with Allie, taking long walks through the countryside, looking through old family photographs, and encouraging her to continue painting for as long as she is able. Every smile, every conversation, and every shared moment becomes infinitely more valuable because Noah understands how fragile those memories have become. His love for Allie remains just as strong as it was when he first saw her at the carnival decades earlier. As the years continue passing, Alzheimer's slowly begins erasing the life they built together. Familiar faces become strangers, cherished memories fade into confusion, and moments of recognition grow increasingly rare. Yet Noah never leaves her side. Even as the disease changes the woman he loves, his devotion remains completely unchanged. He silently promises himself that if Ali can no longer remember their extraordinary love story, he will remember it for both of them. And if necessary, he will tell that story over and over again until the very end, believing that true love is measured not only by joyful moments but by unwavering loyalty through life's greatest hardships. As Ali's Alzheimer's disease continues to progress, the changes become impossible to ignore. The woman who once filled every room with laughter, creativity, and endless energy now struggles to remember the simplest details of her own life. Some mornings she wakes up confused, unable to recognize the house she spent years helping to build. Other days she remembers Noah perfectly, smiling at him with the same warmth she had when they were young. These brief moments of clarity become precious gifts, but they never last long. Noah quickly learns that every good day is followed by another in which the disease steals a little more of the woman he loves. Eventually, the doctors explain that Ellie requires constant professional care. Although Noah desperately wants to continue looking after her at home, he understands that her condition has reached a point where she needs specialized medical attention. Making the decision to move her into a nursing home becomes one of the most painful choices of his life. It feels as though he is breaking the promise he made to always protect her. Yet, he also knows that giving her the best care possible is another way of honoring that promise. With a heavy heart, Noah helps her settle into the facility, determined that no matter where she lives, she will never face the journey alone. From that day forward, Noah creates a routine that never changes. Every morning he arrives at the nursing home carrying the same old notebook that contains the story of their lives. While other visitors gradually become less frequent over the years, Noah never misses a day. Nurses and staff members admire his extraordinary dedication, watching him patiently sit beside Ali's bed and begin reading from the notebook. Although Ali rarely recognizes him anymore, Noah refuses to lose hope. He believes that somewhere beneath the confusion caused by the illness, the woman he fell in love with is still listening. As Noah reads aloud, the audience gradually realizes that the beautiful love story he has been sharing is not fictional at all. Every page tells the story of Noah and Allie themselves, their first meeting at the carnival, the unforgettable summer romance, the painful years apart, the letters that never arrived, and the second chance that reunited them after so much heartbreak. Noah carefully wrote their entire journey into the notebook years earlier at Allie's request, hoping that if the disease ever stole her memories, the written story might help guide her back to the life they built together. On rare and miraculous occasions, something extraordinary happens. As Noah reaches the final pages of the notebook, Ellie's eyes suddenly become clear and recognition slowly returns. She looks directly at Noah, remembers his name, recalls their children, and recognizes the incredible life they shared together. For a few precious minutes, it is as though the disease completely disappears. They laugh together, hold hands, and talk about old memories exactly as they once did. Those brief moments are filled with overwhelming joy because they remind Noah that the woman he loves is still somewhere inside, fighting to return whenever she can. Sadly, the moments of clarity never last very long. Before long, confusion returns, and Ellie once again forgets where she is and who the gentleman sitting beside her might be. Watching her memories disappear again breaks Noah's heart every single time, but he never allows disappointment to replace hope. Instead, he simply closes the notebook, smiles gently, and promises himself that he will begin reading from the first page again tomorrow. His love has never depended on whether Ellie remembers him. Loving her has always been a choice he makes every day, regardless of whether she can remember making the same choice herself. The nursing home staff grows deeply moved by Noah's unwavering devotion. Many of the nurses quietly observe him reading each day, amazed by the patience and compassion he shows despite the emotional pain he endures. Some staff members admit they have never witnessed a love quite like theirs. To them, Noah becomes a symbol of unconditional commitment, a husband who refuses to leave even when the woman he loves can no longer recognize his face. His daily visits inspire everyone around him, proving that genuine love is measured by actions rather than words alone. One evening, after finishing another reading session, Noah experiences a sudden medical emergency of his own. Years of aging and declining health finally catch up with him, and he suffers a heart attack. Doctors and nurses rush to help him, eventually stabilizing his condition and moving him into another room within the same nursing home. Although physically weakened, Noah's first concern is not his own health but Allie. As soon as he regains consciousness, he asks how she is doing and quietly insists that he wants to see her again as soon as possible. While recovering, Noah reflects on the extraordinary journey they have shared. He thinks about the fearless young woman he met on a Ferris wheel, the years they lost because of hidden letters, the beautiful family they built together, and the countless memories now preserved inside the notebook. He realizes that although Alzheimer's has stolen many of Allie's memories, it can never erase the love they created. That love exists not only inside her mind but also inside every page of the notebook, every photograph hanging on the walls, every painting she created, and every life they touched along the way. As another quiet night settles over the nursing home, Noah slowly leaves his room despite the doctor's instructions to rest. Carrying the notebook in his hands once again, he walks slowly through the peaceful hallway toward Allie's room. He knows tomorrow is never guaranteed, and he refuses to waste even a single moment they might still have together. With every step, he demonstrates the promise he made so many years ago that no matter what challenges life placed before them, he would always find his way back to her. And as he gently opens the door to her room, the final chapter of one of cinema's greatest love stories quietly begins. After recovering enough to leave his hospital room, Noah quietly walks through the nursing home's dimly lit hallway, holding the old notebook close to his chest. Every step feels slower than before, not only because of his weakened health, but because he understands that time is no longer on their side. The nurses gently remind him that he should be resting after his heart attack, but Noah simply smiles and thanks them for their concern. He explains that there is only one place he truly wants to be. No matter how tired or fragile he becomes, his heart always leads him back to Ali, just as it has for every day of their life together. When Noah enters Ali's room, he finds her sitting quietly beside the window, gazing out at the evening sky. She looks peaceful but distant, her eyes filled with the confusion that Alzheimer's has brought into her world. She glances at Noah politely, seeing him as a kind stranger rather than the husband who has loved her for decades. Although the sight breaks his heart every single time, Noah never allows disappointment to appear on his face. Instead, he greets her with the same gentle smile he has worn for years, sits beside her, opens the familiar notebook, and begins reading their story once again from the very first page. As Noah reads aloud, the room slowly fills with memories that exist more vividly in his heart than anywhere else. He describes the lively carnival where a fearless young man climbed onto a Ferris wheel just to ask a beautiful girl for a date. He tells of the unforgettable summer filled with laughter, dancing, rivers, and dreams that seemed too wonderful to ever end. Every sentence is spoken with quiet emotion because Noah is not simply reading words from a notebook. He is reliving the happiest moments of his own life. Even if Ellie cannot remember them, he refuses to let those memories disappear from the world. For most of the reading, Ellie listens silently, occasionally smiling at certain moments without understanding why they feel so familiar. Then, just as it has happened a few precious times before, something remarkable begins to change. Her expression softens, her eyes slowly brighten, and recognition gradually replaces confusion. She looks directly at Noah, studying his face carefully before whispering his name with quiet disbelief. In that extraordinary moment, the disease loosens its grip, allowing the woman Noah has loved for so many years to return, if only for a little while. It is a miracle they both treasure because they know it may not last long. Overwhelmed with emotion, Ali reaches for Noah's hand and begins remembering everything. She recalls their first kiss, the old plantation house, the letters she never received, the family they raised together, and the countless years they spent side by side. Tears fill both of their eyes as they laugh, cry, and hold each other tightly. Noah gently reminds her that she once asked him to keep reading their story whenever she forgot, believing that love could find its way through even the darkest illness. Looking into his eyes, Allie quietly thanks him for never giving up on her, even when she could no longer remember who he was. Knowing that these moments of clarity are precious and unpredictable, Noah and Allie spend every second talking about the life they built together. They remember watching their children grow, celebrating birthdays and anniversaries, repairing the old house, and growing old side by side. There is no sadness in their conversation, only gratitude. They realize that although Alzheimer's has stolen many memories, it has never erased the love that carried them through every season of life. Their greatest joy is not found in the years they lost, but in the extraordinary fact that they found each other again after every obstacle fate placed before them. Outside the room, the nurses quietly observe through the doorway, deeply moved by what they are witnessing. They have seen Noah read from the notebook countless times, yet every moment of recognition still feels miraculous. Some wipe away tears as they watch the elderly couple holding hands, smiling at one another with the same affection they shared decades earlier. To everyone in the nursing home, Noah and Allie have become more than patients. They have become a living reminder that true love is not measured by youth, beauty, or perfect circumstances, but by loyalty that endures through even the most heartbreaking challenges. As the evening grows later, Ali begins sensing that her brief return to clarity is slowly fading. She gently touches Noah's face, memorizing every detail as though she knows the memories may soon disappear once more. Noah notices the change but refuses to let fear interrupt the happiness they have found. Instead, he tells her that no matter what happens tomorrow, he will return with the notebook again. If she forgets him, he will patiently introduce himself all over again. If she loses their memories, he will carry them for both of them. His promise is simple but powerful. As long as he is alive, their love story will never be forgotten. Before the night comes to an end, Noah helps Allie into bed and quietly sits beside her, still holding her hand. They gaze out the window together as the moonlight reflects across the peaceful grounds outside the nursing home. Neither of them knows how much time remains, but they no longer fear the future. After surviving years of separation, misunderstanding, war, illness, and aging, they understand that love's greatest victory is not avoiding hardship, it is remaining faithful through every hardship life brings. As the room grows quiet, Noah gently closes the notebook, knowing that the final chapter of their remarkable journey is about to unfold. As the night grows quieter, Noah remains seated beside Ellie's bed, gently holding her hand while the nursing home slowly falls asleep around them. The notebook rests on the bedside table, its pages now closed after telling the extraordinary story of their lives once again. For one precious evening, Ali remembered everything: their first meeting at the carnival, the unforgettable summer romance, the years of separation, the hidden letters, the family they built together, and the love that survived every obstacle. Noah knows those memories may disappear again by morning, but he does not dwell on that possibility. Instead, he chooses to treasure the miracle they were given, no matter how brief it was. As they sit together in silence, Ali looks into Noah's eyes with complete clarity and gently asks whether they truly managed to live the life they once dreamed about. Noah smiles warmly before reminding her of everything they shared. He speaks about the beautiful plantation house they rebuilt together, the children they raised with love, the countless sunsets they watched from the front porch, and the ordinary days that became extraordinary simply because they were together. Listening to him, Ali smiles through tears, realizing that although life was never perfect, it gave them something far greater than perfection. It gave them a love that endured through joy, hardship, distance, and time. For several quiet minutes, they talk as if they are once again the young couple who believed anything was possible. They laugh about all arguments that now seem unimportant, remember adventures from their youth, and speak proudly about the family they created. Every conversation feels like a precious gift because both understand how fragile the moment has become. There is no fear, no regret, and no anger left between them. The only thing that remains is gratitude for the incredible journey they were fortunate enough to share from beginning to end. Eventually, Ali gently rests her head against Noah's shoulder and whispers that she is no longer afraid. She tells him that throughout her illness, even when she could not remember his name, she always felt a comforting presence beside her. Somehow, deep within her heart, she always knew someone loved her enough to never leave. Noah quietly wipes away his tears and tells her that loving her has never been difficult. It has been the greatest privilege of his life. Whether she remembered him or not never changed the promise he made all those years ago. His heart belonged to her from the moment he climbed onto that Ferris wheel, and it never belonged to anyone else. As the night becomes still, the nurses quietly check on the couple one last time before leaving them alone together. They smile gently, seeing Noah and Allie asleep side by side, their hands still intertwined exactly as they had been throughout the evening. Respecting the peaceful moment, they quietly close the door, allowing the couple to rest undisturbed. The room is silent except for the soft sound of the wind outside the window, creating an atmosphere of complete peace after a lifetime filled with unforgettable memories. The following morning, a nurse enters the room to begin the day's routine. She immediately notices that something is different. Noah and Ali remain lying peacefully beside one another, their hands still gently clasped together. There is no sign of struggle or fear on either of their faces. Instead, both wear calm expressions as though they simply drifted into a quiet sleep together. The nurse silently realizes that they passed away during the night, leaving the world exactly as they had lived within it, together. It is a heartbreaking yet beautiful ending, one that reflects the promise Noah made so many years earlier that nothing, not even time or illness, would ever truly separate them. News of their passing deeply affects everyone who knew them. Their children gather at the old plantation house, surrounded by photographs, paintings, and countless memories that tell the story of two people who never stopped choosing each other despite every challenge life placed before them. As they look through the worn notebook, they realize it is far more than a collection of memories. It is a timeless reminder that true love is built through patience, sacrifice, forgiveness, and unwavering devotion. The notebook becomes a family treasure, preserving a love story that future generations will continue reading long after Noah and Ellie are gone. The film closes by returning to the peaceful images of the countryside, where everything first began. The lake remains calm, the birds still glide gracefully across the water, and the restored plantation house stands proudly beneath the morning sunlight. Nature quietly continues its rhythm, reminding us that while life eventually comes to an end, the love we leave behind continues living in the hearts of those we touched. Noah and Allie's story becomes more than a romance, it becomes a symbol of hope, proving that genuine love is strong enough to survive misunderstanding, separation, war, illness, and even death itself. In its final moments, the notebook leaves the audience with one unforgettable message. True love is not measured by how easy the journey is, but by the willingness to remain faithful through every season of life. Noah and Allie's extraordinary story reminds us that love requires courage, patience, forgiveness, and sacrifice. Although time changes people and memories may fade, a heart that truly loves never forgets what matters most. That is why their story continues to inspire millions around the world, standing as one of cinema's most emotional and unforgettable love stories. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing movie breakdowns. See you in the next video.